Well, finally, a huge part of the population's been vaccinated. We're starting to reopen. The most vulnerable populations are safe. I mean, it's good news, right? I mean, baseball season's on. It's back to normal in America. Not quite. It's Rob Nelson Live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Rob Nelson Live. Thanks for being with me, coming at you from our virtual studios, our bi-coastal virtual studios in California and Florida, and streaming to you on whatever social platform you like and wherever you are, in your car, in your house, in your kitchen, in your bathroom, I don't know, at a bar. And as always, love to get your feedback, interaction. We're on all social platforms. We like to think we're the most interactive live stream show on the web. Help us make it that way. All right, let's get right to it, jump right in. A lot of positive things happening. I mean, from a year ago, right? I mean, we're just over a year past when the pandemic hit, the lockdown started. I mean, for some places, the lockdowns were just beginning right now. Out in California, we'd started a couple weeks ago. It's like our anniversary. And while there was a whole lot of bad, a whole lot of hurt, a whole lot of horrible death, numbers few of us could have imagined, we seem like we're finally coming out on the other side. I mean, we got a vaccine in months. And remember when they first were talking about a vaccine, it was going to take year, 2 years. They were like 2 years, maybe 1 year if we're lucky. 9 months. 9 months we had a vaccine, and it's been rolling out now. You know, under the Biden administration, started with the Trump administration developing it. Now and then the rollout. You know, a huge, like 30% of the country's been vaccinated. More importantly, the most vulnerable populations, seniors, older people, people with underlying conditions, frontline essential workers. Well, essential hospital workers, not essential workers in my definition of all the people who are out there in the grocery stores delivering things, all that. But nonetheless, we've got it out there. The most vulnerable populations have been protected. It's good news. Schools are opening. I mean, even Democratic states like California and New York, who are hard into the lockdown, like all in forever and ever, have started to open up. I mean, California's starting to bubble back to life. And baseball is here, guys. I mean, and most cities are talking about how many people they're going to admit into games. In New York City, talking about how many people can go to the Mets and the Yankees. And it's like exciting, good news, right? We got a vaccine. We're on the way. We're starting to get herd immunity. We're heading toward it. We can not put our guard down, but yeah, put our guard down and start going back to life and rebuild the mess, right? No, not quite. Not if you talk to the medical establishment that seems to be at the top of this pyramid in Washington. I mean, headlines like this are coming out in a lot of major newspapers. USA Today, we are skating on a knife's edge right now. Scientists worry U.S. could be headed for yet another COVID-19 surge. A knife's edge? Like, woo! And so many of them, like warnings, another surge, fourth surge is coming, the B117 variant, like doomsday's right in front of us. And doctors like this in Lansing, Michigan, a little clip here, check this out.
Here in Lansing, where cases are surging as state health officials are ramping up vaccinations and testing efforts to contain the latest wave.
It's a perfect storm with the reopening and the variant hitting at the same time. So things that used to be safe to do are no longer safe to do, and we're doing more things.
So again, a perfect storm. Perfect storm. The variant's out and we're reopening. The message is being drilled across by a lot of health experts, some people in the political world as well, sort of saying, hold on. Don't get ahead of yourselves. Things aren't as good as they seem. We are headed for a potential another surge, and this could be really bad. I mean, again, I want to get into the whole fear-mongering aspect of this. I get it, but from the start of this pandemic, there have been the fear-mongers and the non-fear-mongers. Now, you can go, Trump was the opposite. He was like the opposite of the fear-monger to the point that he was the denier. This didn't happen. It's not real. It's going to be gone in no time. But on the other side were the people who were like, this is going to kill millions of Americans. Now, it killed 500,000 people. That is not an insignificant thing. That is beyond a mass casualty event. But we made our way through it, and we're finally seeing light. But no, it's like we can't quite get there according to the people on top. The CDC and the White House COVID task force do a briefing every couple of days, and they do it virtually. I have a little pic of it for you guys because it's kind of funny how they set the whole thing up. See, there's Fauci on the left, there's the CDC director, Rebecca Walensky on the right, and the guy in the middle is always a different person. And I swear to God, it's like watching thanks, Crafty. It's like watching it reminds me of when I used to watch footage of the old communist party states, when they'd have their little meetings and the guy at the thing. And when you listen to the guy talk, he's very he's all in propaganda mode. He's literally drills out the message that you're supposed to do this and do this and do this and do this. I get it. It's fine. They're messaging. It's a little awkward, but they're worth watching because there's a lot of information in them. And sometimes it's a little unsettling. So I looked at Monday's COVID press conference, White House press conference. And this is what CDC director Rachel Walensky had to say. And she literally, she's going on because they go off script. They have scripts. And she goes off script and she tells you she's going to go off script. And here's what she says.
I'm going to pause here. I'm going to lose the script, and I'm going to reflect on the recurring feeling I have of impending doom. We have so much to look forward to, so much promise and potential of where we are, and so much reason for hope. But right now, I'm scared.
I mean, what is this, March 2020? Seriously. You would think she's living in another world. I get people who are going to be like, you're not a health expert. I'm not. Although I've had pretty good instincts from the start of this about what would happen and how it would play out. But seriously, she's like, I'm scared. I'm sorry. We vaccinated the most vulnerable population in the country. We are making vaccines available to everyone over the next couple of weeks. We are opening schools. The death rates have fallen. Yes, there's some upticks in case counts, but hospitalizations for the most part are going down. And the most vulnerable people with the underlying conditions and the elderly, who are the bulk of the people, elderly, who died from this, have already either gotten the brunt of it or now been vaccinated. This is a time to be like, I'm excited. This is good. But instead, Director Walensky, after that clip I showed you, appeals to us. As she says, I'm speaking to you not as your CDC director, but as a wife, as a mother, as a whatever, a daughter. Please, please, please hold on longer. It's like, it's like WTF. They keep moving the goalposts. They just keep moving the goalposts. Remember when it started? Okay. We have to basically flatten the curve. That's it. A couple weeks, flatten the curve. We knew it was never going to be a couple weeks, but then it was a couple months, flatten the curve. Okay, we need you to stay home. Don't go to work. We need you to take a break. Rosanna Wilder, this is all about control. Sure, there's a virus and it really hits seniors hard. So why are we locking down the whole country when millions of people are not sick? We never shut down the flu or any other virus. Completely agree, Rosanna. And that's kind of the point that I am kind of leaning into here, right? And I'm going to get more into that aspect of it, but 100% with you. There was a most vulnerable population. I've argued for a while, why did we shut the whole country down instead of isolating the vulnerable population? We know from the numbers, 80%, 80+% of the deaths were people over 65, 90, it's like 87%. But we didn't. We shut the whole country down. I get it. They didn't know what they were facing. They made a decision. We're a year past that. So again, goalposts kept moving. First, it was stay home, don't go to work, flatten the curve. We did that. Then it was like mask, social distance. Okay. Then people started doing that. We have to mask, social distance, stay home until we get a vaccine. Then we got a vaccine. Now we're rolling the vaccine out. Wait a minute. Oh, no. No, you still have to mask. You still have to socially distance, and you still shouldn't reopen your businesses yet. They're saying, don't open the economies up yet. Why? We have a vaccine, and we've vaccinated the most vulnerable population in the country. Why do they keep shifting it? Why do they keep moving the goalposts farther and farther. And part of me wonders, like, do they believe are they just bought into that notion? They're just like overprotected parents who are so scared it's never going to be enough. Do they, cynically, do they like being in control? Does Dr. Fauci, who's the highest paid person in the U.S. government, the single highest paid person in the U.S. government, over the president, over the five-star generals, over anybody, it's Dr. Fauci. He loves being on TV. You can see him glow when he's doing his interviews on CNN. I'm not a huge Fauci fan. I like the fact, I respect what he does and what he did and his knowledge, but he's just so sucks it in and he's so sycophantic at times. And I'm kind of like, seriously, do you not get how much this is costing us? I wonder sometimes, do they? When they're like, hold on a little longer. We've been telling us that. And each time we make progress, each time we now have a vaccine. People are being vaccinated. We know it works. The most vulnerable have been vaccinated. What are we holding on for? I mean, the cost to the U.S. economy, Inc. magazine estimated that 4 million small businesses closed in 2020. 4 million. 110,000 restaurants closed in 2020. That's one of six. One in every 6 restaurants closed in 2020. That was before this year started, when many of them are still closed. It's 800 restaurants a day. 3 out of 10, 30% of U.S. businesses say without help, they won't make it. And if you look at minority-owned businesses, it's 80% who say even with the PPP loans, it's not enough. I mean, and I'm not even talking about the mental health damage. I'm not even talking about the poverty damage. I'm talking literally just about millions and millions of businesses and lives being ruined. And I get it if you argued we had to do that. Okay, I think there might have been a different approach. But either way, now we have to do it. Now when literally we have a vaccine, it's like it's never enough. It's just, and there's so many inconsistencies, right? When you think about it. I mean, the restaurant thing was always a bizarre thing, like you can't eat indoors, you can eat outdoors. If you're indoors, you have to wear a mask when you walk to your table, but you take it off the second you're there. Places like LA, you couldn't have outdoor dining, but movie sets could have outdoor dining. I mean, it was always like one thing after another that didn't make sense. Couldn't go to the beach in, California. Why couldn't you go to the beach? Like, safest place you could be, but you could walk down your sidewalk. And then all the inconsistencies of people like hypocritically not doing what they said. People like Gavin Newsom going to the French Laundry and having dinner with friends at a table indoors, saying it was a mistake. Well, mistake. I mean, if your mandate was so important, why were you breaking it? Because you didn't really think it was necessary. It just rules don't apply to you. And then even like I travel a lot, airlines, think about airlines. I mean, it's the funniest thing, right? A lot of people are afraid to travel. I got to say, during the pandemic, travel was great. No lines. But still, the planes were crowded. And they packed them in. But when you get on the plane and when you get off the plane, they make you socially distance. Even some airlines even have a thing. We want you to, Jules, this is so lame, grow up. Wow. Well, Jules, what I would say to you, and I'm not typically that harsh on people, but I would say you must be living in a position or a situation where you somehow miss the damage this has done to most of the country. Grow up. Grow up. I personally know dozens and dozens of people who've lost everything, lost their jobs, their careers. Millions of Americans lost everything from this. The mental health toll is astronomical. They're expecting global poverty rates to skyrocket hundreds of percent fold. A massive, massive setback to the world. Our economy lost $4 trillion alone in GDP last year. So grow up. I am growing up. I'm growing up and saying, guys, there's a point at which you go back to life. And once you've protected those in need, once you've protected the vulnerable, there's no more excuse to keep the healthy population from moving forward. And my point on the airplanes was the social distancing, 6 feet apart while you get on the plane, get off the plane, and then they cram you in right next to somebody literally 6 inches away, except for Delta as the middle seat open. I mean, you're sitting half a foot from somebody for 5 hours, but social distance when you get off. People's intuitive sense is like, this doesn't add up. And with a quote from Biden, yeah, it is all about control. It is all about control. And it's about fear and control. So Biden had this to say about masks recently. Please, this is not politics. Reinstate the mandate if you let it down, and businesses should require masks as well. A failure to take this virus seriously, precisely what got us into this mess in the first place, risks more cases and more deaths. Okay. But it is all politics, guys. I mean, that's the problem, right? I'm not saying masks don't work, but there's a certain oddness in it at a certain point, right? I want to show you a video. This is in LA. This is an LA like health meeting. So LA officials gathering to do a stream feed. And somebody caught the video inside the place and videoed them as they're turning the cameras on. Listen carefully to what they say.
Actually, I will turn it on now. And I'll turn it off if we have an issue. If everyone could please practice social distancing if the cameras are on.
I mean, seriously. I've seen it in many places, but I mean, and we've all seen images of it. But there you have it, caught by somebody inside the room. We're turning the cameras on. Guys, can you stop standing next to each other? The cameras are on. You see reporters pull their masks up. I saw White House briefings where reporters, the minute the press conference is over, pull their mask off and start talking to each other. It's like they call it mask theater. I'm not saying masks aren't legit and don't serve a purpose, but mask theater is this thing about wearing a mask no matter, like when the camera's on. It's like keep it on for the camera, social distance for the camera, but you don't in real life. That's the Gavin Newsom going to the French Laundry. It's like you really clearly aren't practicing this. You just pretend to. So makes me question the whole thing, makes anybody question how legit is it? You know, even Fauci and Rand Paul, the senator from Kentucky, got into a well, I don't know if he's a puppet of the CCP. I think that you're talking the Communist Party. I don't think so, but I think he is. I don't know. I'll get to that. I don't know that Biden's a puppet. I think Biden's just perhaps a little out of touch with it all and bought into his own rhetoric. It's like the people's bias gets so built in, they don't even know they have a bias anymore, you know? But you know, the idea of Fauci and the masks, right? And he got in an argument with Senator Rand Paul, who was saying, why are you've been vaccinated? Why are you wearing two masks? It's political theater. And Fauci's like, it's not political theater. He's like, but you're vaccinated. You can't get the disease. You can't give the disease. Why are you wearing two masks when you're vaccinated? It's theater. And now Fauci insists it's going to be, and I've heard him say this, 6 months at least before we're sure that the vaccines work effectively enough and against the new variants. Okay, it's always something. Now it's 6 more months. It's like it's always something. Is Fauci doing mask theater? At some level. I mean, certainly at some level, when people put the masks on for the cameras, take them off the rest of the time, behave one way on camera, another way off, it's become a politicized form of theater. The masks have become political. This whole thing's become political, and it's sad. It's like one side is like, do it one way, the other side's do it another way. Bet this guy voted for the guy who was president in 2020. Grew up indeed. Well, I love it. I'm getting shade thrown on me. I did not vote for the guy who was president in 2020. I actually voted for Bernie Sanders in the primaries. And the thing that you're missing is you're, to me, buying into the very logic. So I'm going to challenge you. You know, saying I should grow up. Okay, fine. What is it I should grow up about? Which part of what I'm saying do you not get? So you think we should be doing what we're doing. You buy it. You buy that we should have masked, social distance. Fair enough. We should have. We should have stayed home. Fair enough. We should have. We did all those things till we got a vaccine and partial herd immunity. Now we have a vaccine. We have vaccinated the most vulnerable population, and we will be able to vaccinate anyone who wants a vaccine within the next month and a half, 2 months, 3 months, max. Anyone who wants it. At that point, the only people who can get sick are people who don't care. If I want to get sick, it's my choice, as long as I don't get somebody else sick. Young, healthy people don't get very sick from this if they get it at all. We know the numbers. The numbers of kids under 20 who get this is 200 have died, 200 kids, period, across the U.S. The numbers are astronomically small for the non-vulnerable populations to get seriously ill or die. So grow up. Again, I'm offended by that. It's like, how about you look at the real numbers, or look at why you're so bought into the notion that, like, again, I'm not saying we shouldn't have done things we did. I've given everyone a pass on not knowing how to handle this pandemic. But a year in, we've got a vaccine. We should now be moving forward, not insisting that we have to keep staying locked down, keep staying with masks, keep staying social distancing, even if you're vaccinated. I can't get you sick if you're vaccinated. And if I'm not vaccinated and you get me sick or someone gets me sick, that's on me. Not going to hurt you. Not going to make. The whole idea was don't be a granny killer. There are no more granny killers left because all the grannies and grandpas and elderly people who wanted to have been vaccinated. Anyone's going to be able to be vaccinated in a tiny short amount of time. So only people who don't care and don't want to be vaccinated could possibly get it, which leads me to the thing of vaccine passports. Vaccine passports. New York's calling it the Excelsior Pass. And it's the vendor's choice, according to Governor Cuomo. You can get this passport on your smartphone, and now Madison Square Garden, big events can actually require you to have a vaccine to get into the event. Okay, well, it's wrong on so many levels. And this is what's scary. You know, again, if you're going to have a big event, everybody in there who's vaccinated, who wants to be in there, is safe from the disease. You're safe. So if I want to go in there unvaccinated, who am I putting at risk? Me and anybody else who chose to go in there unvaccinated. Nobody who wanted to be vaccinated is at risk. The workers in the venue, the players, anyone in the audience who's vaccinated, they're all safe. Why can't I go in without a vaccine if I want to? I'm only harming myself if I were to get it, and anybody else who made that choice. We've lost sight of the whole point. The whole point is you're not allowed to get sick. The whole point is you're not supposed to get other people sick. You're not supposed to create a pandemic-like effect where our hospitals are overcrowded. Well, our hospitals can't be overcrowded anymore because young people don't get seriously ill from this. Rarely. It's a small fraction. We know that. The ICUs numbers are down and they will stay down. So why do I have to, why is a vaccine passport okay? And why is it bad? I'll tell you why it's bad. First of all, the government's getting all kinds of HIPAA health data on you. Secondly, they can track you wherever you went. They will know wherever you've gone. Anywhere. And you go, well, that's not why they're doing it. So what if that's not why they're doing it? It never starts there. Or even if you say businesses can choose to do it for now until they mandate it. And it's like suddenly if you don't have the vaccine, we're going to somehow not let you into things, which makes no sense since the only person I can get sick is me or another person who chose not to get the vaccine since it's available to everyone and everyone can have it. But tracking me? What government doesn't eventually use that stuff against you? I mean, it's not now, it's later. I mean, Google, big social apps use your privacy data, use data against you, sell it. I mean, you want the government to have control of that kind of information? Seriously? I got a meme for you. It's going to piss some of you off. It's a Nazi meme. I intentionally went that route because whenever you compare something to Nazis, people go crazy. Let's show them the meme, Crafty. Your COVID passport, please. Okay. And the rest of your medical history. Wait, no, that's confidential. Not anymore. I intentionally put up a Nazi meme because, again, when you compare anything to the Nazis, people are going to go crazy, right? Unless it's like immigration camps. But again, don't get me started. By the way, before anybody thinks I'm like, whatever, I'm very pro-immigration. I'm actually right up there wanting all current people living in this country, quote, illegally, to have a path to citizenship. Nobody should be living here and be called illegal, and the dreamers and the whole deal. So don't get me started on that, but it is funny. And the whole thing is, again, why this, you know, giving the government this kind of information, why are we so intent on making everybody feel like you have to be vaccinated or else? What's this obsession? What happened to my body, my choice? Remember back in the day? I remember in the 80s, I went like, you know, with my ex-girlfriend back in the day, and we went to like the NARAL Planned Parenthood, you know, pro-choice march, you know, we were all out there like, go, 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 my body, my choice, or her body, her choice. You know, what happened? What happened to liberals being like, my body, my choice? My body, my choice if I want a vaccine. It's your choice. Not if you're going to get other people sick. No. But if they're vaccinated, you're not going to get them sick. That's the whole point, right? I mean, it's almost like cars. If you wanted to 15% vaccinated in suburban county, a lot longer than 1-2 months gets the population vaccinated. I don't know about that fast setting. I think it depends. You know, some places are having a harder time with the rollouts. Some places are doing it less efficiently. But I think anybody who wants to be vaccinated in the next 6 to 8 weeks will be able to. I mean, I could be wrong. You know, some of those lower numbers, by the way, aren't because the vaccines aren't available. They're because people don't want it. They estimate like up to 40% of the country doesn't want to get vaccinated. That's a huge chunk of people who don't want to. And again, if you don't want to, that's your choice. As long as anybody who wants to can get it. But what did happen to the notion that it should be my choice, my body? I mean, around abortion rights, that was the whole thing. It's your body, your choice. You get to decide what to do with it as long as it's not hurting somebody else. As long as those who want to be vaccinated are vaccinated, it's my body, my choice, what I do with it at that point. If I want to get sick, if I want to die of COVID, That's my choice, as long as I'm not putting somebody else at risk. You know, all this reminds me of G. Gordon Liddy, the Watergate architect, died 2 days ago. He's the guy who masterminded Watergate and was a big, hardcore right-wing extremist, and Nixon guy. And I thought of this. I have a pic of Nixon because this has just made me think about the twist in politics. Crafty, can you show my little Nixon pic? How Nixon used to do that thing, thanks, Crafty, with his arms up in the air, like getting off the thing. Like, also it's the craziest, creepiest looking thing. And the guy was clearly a creepy dude, right? But what happened to the good old days when Democrats, when liberals, when progressives distrusted the government? And if Richard Nixon came back to life today, he would join the Biden administration. He'd be like, I'm all in. Let's make people do this stuff, and let's track their data, and let's know who they are, and know their health information, and know what events and venues they've gone to. Vaccine passport, brilliant idea, Biden. Awesome idea, Cuomo. I'm 100% in. I think I'll change and be a Democrat. I mean, seriously. I mean, this to me, I'm progressive on this. Nixon, those guys wanted to control. What happened to the days when liberals wanted to make sure the government didn't get too far into your life, didn't know too much about you? Conservatives are the one trying to track everybody, especially the commies, get everybody, shut them down. Like, now it's the other way around. It's like, oh, good, we love the intelligence services. We love them. Government know more about us, follow more about us. It's nutty. It's like, and somehow people on the right have become the ones like, keep your hands off. Like, it's like a role reversal. I miss the old days when progressives 100% were like, stay the F away from me. Don't tell me. You lie to me constantly. You send us into wars that are BS. You do things to people you don't tell us about. We don't trust you. Do not track us. Do not follow us. Let us live our lives. It used to be like a left progressive idea. What happened, guys? Take it back. Whew. All right, wrapping this thing up. Are we ever going back to normal? No, I don't think so. And here's why. Because the pandemic, the worst massive casualty event in modern history, the most damaging thing that's ever happened to this country in modern history, somehow wasn't able to unite us, but only divide us. Literally, we split over a disease. Blue, red. Lockdown, don't lockdown. Mask, don't wear mask. I mean, neither side has integrity at a certain point. There's truth to both sides. But there's also lies to both sides. Anybody who goes, there's no reason to wear a mask is full of crap. Of course there's reasons to wear a mask. Of course there is. It saves people's lives. But it doesn't save people's lives who are vaccinated. Both sides just can't be honest about it. So no, we're not going back to normal. The truth is, we've covered most of the vulnerable population with vaccinations. We have a healthy younger population for the most part will be okay with or without vaccinations. We have some herd immunity, and the worst part is behind us, but the hardest part is ahead of us. The hardest part is ahead of us, which is we have got to rebuild our country. And that doesn't even talk about trying to rebuild the political distrust. I mean, the divide between us is like a Grand Canyon. It's like there was an earthquake in California and it split off the continent. It's that severe a divide. Can we heal that divide? Can we cross? That's not coming back together. This pandemic proved that we are going this way, not this way. The only hope, the only positive thing is that I do think we're pretty spirited people. And I think a whole lot of people, left and right, are picking up the pieces and going, I don't trust the government. I don't trust the media. I don't care which side I'm on. But I do trust the fact that we can move forward and pick our pieces up from the ashes and rebuild something. And hopefully that vast majority of Americans, not the fringe on either side, finds that common ground and goes, let's build something stronger, better. Let's find the common ground, the sensible, common sense way through all this, and start forward into a new normal. It's Rob Nelson. Thanks for watching.